Okay, ladies and gents, boys and girls, what's going on? TGIF, happy Friday, the first day of July and the start of the July 4th weekend. What is going on? Appreciate you all tuning in. We're live here on the Daily Crow, of course, as always. I'm Chris Phillips, your host of the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. We're taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. But first, we're going to be joined here shortly, very shortly, by my good friend, Big Game Boomer. We're going to get his thoughts on Carolina football. Also, of course, talk lists, his process behind that. I'm very excited to chat with him here shortly. Guys, really quickly before he jumps on, of course, as always, the Daily Crow brought to you by our friends over at Carolina Ale House. Check out your local Carolina Ale House location, whether it be Augusta, Columbia, Myrtle Beach, Fort Mill, downtown Greenville, Woodruff Road, Somerville, wherever it might be, guys. Check them out. They've got 65 beers on tap, probably even more than that at this point. They got cold beer, great food, plenty of TVs. It is the spot to go to. It is the spot to go to for you to catch Gamecocks athletics and all sports. Doesn't matter if it's Gamecocks, literally anything. So go check out our friends over at Carolina Ale House as I send Big Game Boomer this streaming link really quickly. I don't know why he couldn't just do it on Instagram. Anyways, let's see. Okay, firing over this link to Big Game Boomer. We're going to get him on here and get things. All right, there we go. Then we're going to get things rolling. So either way, check out Carolina Ale House. Check out Carolina Ale House. Okay, so we did not then get the commitment that everybody thought we were going to get. So that's why it's per sources. That's why it's insiders. That's why it's per sources, and that's why it's insiders. That's why it's per sources. That's why it's insiders. Either way, really excited to chat with Big Game Boomer. Again, this is a guy that has never had a list that was wrong, by the way. But just to get his thoughts on South Carolina football, Shane Beamer, a guy that's had Shane Beamer on his airwaves, really, really excited to chat with him. And also does a great job just covering college football and for the sport of college football as a whole. All right, looks like he's in here, guys. We'll go ahead and rock. Let's get him in. BGB, what's up, man? How are you?
How you doing?
What's going on?
Oh, not much. Just ready for the 4th of July.
Yeah, I
Getting
hear
those
you,
fireworks
man.
ready.
I hear you. The legend in the flesh. Well, of course, guys, again, we've got our audience tuned in. A man who has never published an incorrect list. He's never missed. And I'm not saying that because he listed the Spurs Up Show as the best team podcast for an individual college team. I would never have any biases because of that list, my guy. But no, Big Game Boomer, appreciate you taking the time, man. Sincerely,
Yeah.
You do a great job. I was just saying before you jumped on, you do a great job in regards to covering college football. And obviously this week you had a ton to talk about with the Southern Cal, UCLA stuff and conference realignment and just the game of college football. The sport is changing as we know it. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Yeah, no problem, man. Happy to join.
Yeah. So obviously I know everybody in here wants to hear your thoughts on the Gamecocks, and you've had Shane Beamer on your airways. But
yeah,
first things first, I got to know this. You can see my shirt. I hate Clemson, right? I hate Clemson. You, my friend, I respect the hell out of it because when I've got people hitting me up saying, oh, Big Game Boomer is the Spurs Up Show's troll account, I know you're doing something right. Bro, you got to give the people an idea. Where does this history, you and the beef with Clemson, where's it come from?
So I don't hate Clemson. I grew up a Clemson fan. I've posted a picture of me tailgating in at Death Valley. So I grew up a Clemson fan. Just went to a ton of Clemson games. When it was time to go to school, I ended up going to OU. Just visited Norman, loved it. Thought it was a cool college town, and so I ended up going to OU. And so from there, my fandom switched from OU to from Clemson to OU. And during that time when I was growing up, it was like the Bowden years, and Clemson wasn't very good. Like they were decent, but I mean, you went into like almost every game like really with not knowing whether or not they're going to win. And since then, since the Dabo era, I've just seen so many fans and stuff just kind of come out of the woodworks, bandwagon fans, if that's what you want to call them, that I've seen that just, I don't think they appreciate what Clemson football, is. I think they're just there because of Dabo and how much they're winning now. And The ACC is not what it used to be. It's weak. So I don't know. That's kind of where it comes from. So I don't hate Clemson, but I do. I mean, I do like to poke the bear every now and then.
and we appreciate it and we enjoy it because, again, I'm someone that I most certainly like to do the same. When it comes to your lists, my guy, I'm curious because, again, you do a great job with that, and it's really cool, man, because, I mean, as you know, you and I both know, you're going to get it on social media no matter what when you're talking sports, and you're giving so many opinions. Not everybody's going to agree, and that's the beauty of it. You know, we say on these airways, the beauty's in the banter, but you found a great niche in regards to just posting lists and in a very aesthetically pleasing way, very simple to the point, though, with the team colors. Like, I love it, but I got to ask, because you rank, I mean, it's just everything, literally everything you can think of. How much research really goes into the list? Because, I mean, I've done lists. I've just done top 5 lists, bro. And I've got like a newfound respect for what you do because I spent the month of June ranking like top 5 of every position all time at South Carolina, head coaches, even uniforms, everything you can think of. And I'm like, dude, people lose their minds over a top 5. So when you're doing like top 50s and top 100s, I'm like, I really respect what BGB is doing. How much research goes into those, and like, what's your creative process in regards to putting those lists together?
So it really depends on the list. There is, like, when I'm ranking like players and coaches, I try to be as dead accurate. I mean, that's just based on, you know, research, like stats, draft rankings, stuff like that. And if you look at my rankings and then you look at like 24/7 or Athlon, like they're usually pretty close. And then coaches, I will just look at development, recruiting, guys that they put in the league. So I do spend a lot of times on those because, like, if you see those tweets, like all the coaches retweet them. I get coaches and players just like thanking me for ranking them on their list. So I take those pretty seriously. But then when there's like, we're doing like, I did the most sensitive fan bases.
Right.
Last week I had like, earlier this week, there was like 4 million views on it. Those I always try to have some sort of structure. But then I'll always take a shot at a team here and there just to poke the bear. And, you know, it stimulates a lot of banter on Twitter, as you've seen.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it something crazy where, you know, you started with humble beginnings? I feel like you basically started at 0 on social media like everybody else. But to see all these coaches and players and schools sharing it and putting so much stock in the list, like how crazy is that for you, just seeing the recognition, the list?
It's wild, man, because like I started on Twitter November of 2020. I had like 50 followers. And by like, you know, March of 2021, it started really ramping up. And, you know, it's like every time I post a list now, there's an article about it in like Sports Illustrated or USA Today, talking about the list and where something was ranked or not. So it's wild. It's been wild, but I love it. It's fun. I love talking college football, and it's kind of my way to do it all off season and in the season.
Now, you had Shane Beamer on your airways, BGB. Let's move to that. Your overall impressions of the Gamecocks head coach. Of course, I know you and I would both agree he overachieved in year 1, getting this team to a bowl game and then winning said bowl game over North Carolina. But again, you've been able to speak to him one-on-one, just your thoughts on him as the Gamecocks head coach and his leadership leading this program moving forward.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Shane Beamer. I'm an OU guy, so I saw him at OU, saw the impact he had on the players there. So before, I knew it was a great hire when South Carolina hired him in 2020, and so I knew it was going to be good for you guys. Just his energy and his kind of charisma to kind of just he gets people believing, and that's his best quality, I think. You look at the South Carolina fan base right now. I mean, how many games did they win with Will Muschamp? Like 6
Not enough. Yeah,
games or something?
6 over a 2-year span. Yeah, 19 and 20. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, he's got y'all thinking that, I mean, you can win again with going 7-6 last year. I mean, and he's just doing all the right things, going to, you know, all the sporting events. I mean, he takes so much time out of his schedule to join podcasts like with me or just anybody. And he's just such a genuine guy. And that's what I like the most about him. I don't see any BS from him. Very likable, and I'm bullish on Beamer for sure.
Yeah, we all are for sure. Beamer ball, baby.
Yeah.
You're an OU guy, obviously, BGB. Your thoughts, of course, Shane Beamer hauls in Spencer Rattler, Austin Stockton. I mean, I would argue to say the Gamecocks made the splash of the quote-unquote offseason, if you will, in the transfer portal at least.
Yeah.
I know it didn't end great for Rattler, obviously, last year with Caleb Williams taking his job, and then, of course, the drama with Lincoln Riley. And Spencer Rattler went as far to say that it was a toxic situation. I feel like that what happened to Spencer last year could be like one of the best things ever happened to him. Just getting humbled a little bit, having to deal with some adversity. I feel like now maybe he's got that chip on his shoulder and he's going to attack this thing with South Carolina. And maybe he's poised, hopefully, to have his best season yet. But your overall thoughts on Spencer Rattler, the player, and just the pickup by Shane Beamer and company?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, I think Stogner helped get him to Columbia, but people forget he had a great 2020 season. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I mean, the dude was off the charts. And so I think last year, USC fired Clay Helton, I think like the second week of the season. And I think Lincoln Riley was in talks with USC from September all the way through in November when he said he was going to USC. And I think the whole season was just out of whack. If you watched OU play, it just wasn't the Lincoln Riley style offense. So I think that it was great. I think it humbled him getting benched and everything. So I expect big things from Spencer Rattler at South Carolina this year. I mean, South Carolina's offense last year was anemic. So to get Rattler, Stogner, which Stogner's going to stay healthy. He's had trouble. They got Christian Bill Smith from Wake Forest. That was a huge pickup. And I forget the dude's name from James Madison that they picked up.
Wells,
yeah. I've heard that him and Rattler have really clicked. So I'm excited to see what Rattler does at South Carolina.
Now, BGB, before I get you out of here, of course, we are entering talking season at July 1st. Believe it or not, SEC Media Days is 2.5 weeks away, basically. And we're starting to lock in predictions. I won't necessarily ask you for an exact game-by-game or record prediction, but I'm seeing a lot of 6-6s, 7-5s, some 8-4s, but I feel like 7-5 is kind of the typical pick for this team. Again, you win 7 last year, 6 in the regular season. You overachieved. The Vegas over-under, we've seen 5.5 or 6. Just your overall thoughts on this team going in the fall, because I feel like South Carolina, even taking my biases out of it, is one of the most intriguing teams in college football because you made that splash in the portal. You add when he's at his best, a Heisman Trophy caliber quarterback, first rounder, if you will. But the schedule's so tough, and everybody in the SEC got better as well, right? You've got to go to Arkansas. You still got to play A&M, Georgia, and Clemson. You got to play Tennessee, go to Kentucky. So what are your thoughts on this team this 2022 season? How do you kind of see South Carolina faring this year?
Well, I mean, I think there are still a lot of question marks. I mean, the offensive line, I know they bring a ton of guys back, but I mean, the offensive line was not great last year. So, I mean, can you return that? Can those returning starters be more productive? I think that's important. Yeah, Vegas has 5.5. I said last night, like, I think 7-5, 8-4 is a really good season, even if and then you win your bowl game. Just because, like you said, the schedule's crazy. Your crossover games are at Arkansas, and then you got A&M coming to Columbia, and then you got to still play Clemson. So, I mean, that's just a lot. But we don't know how the offense is going to respond with their upgrades. I mean, South Carolina won 7 games with a graduate assistant quarterback last year. So let's see how they do with Rattler. I think Satterfield, this is a big year for him. That offense has got to step it up. And the defense will be, I think the defense will be fine. They got to get a little more pressure on the quarterback. Secondary should be good. But yeah, I'm in the 8-4, 7-5, and then a couple things go their way. They could go 9-3. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be locking in my predictions next week, but I agree with you. It's an interesting team. I think the floor is pretty high, but where is the ceiling? I think it all depends on that schedule and how it breaks. BGB, I'll go ahead and get you out of here, man. I appreciate you taking the time. Would definitely love to chat again soon. And I will say this. I know I DM'd you, and I kind of joked at the beginning of the show, but we appreciate the love, man. Honestly, your lists get a lot of traction, a lot of love, and a lot of banter. And so for the Spurs Up show to be listed as the best podcast in regards to the South Carolina space, man, there's a lot of great ones. So I appreciate the love and appreciate your support. And at Big Game Boomer across social media, I'm sure you guys have seen him, but be sure you go follow on social media. BGB, keep up the good work, man. Appreciate you. Let's do it again soon for sure.
All right, take it easy. Have a good 4th.
All right, man. You too. Yeah, happy 4th. Appreciate you.
All right, see you, man.
See you, man. Big Game Boomer. What a guy. What a combo. What an interview. Incredible stuff. Appreciate him taking the time. And now, folks, the phone lines are back open here. The Daily Crow as normal. That's a great way to start the show, man. That's a great way to start the show. BGB. Travi, I didn't get to ask him that question, but I believe he is located in Oklahoma. I believe he is located in the state of Oklahoma. Really, really good stuff, man. That's really good stuff. That was a great conversation. And what I will do is I will clip that 15-minute combo or so, and I'll make it its own thing, and we'll publish that to YouTube, and we will have clips from that conversation on social media as well. So if you missed anything, that full combo will be out for you to watch at some later point. Breaking 70. What's up, Breaking? Going on. Appreciate you, my guy. Appreciate you. Ronnie Pace, Big Game Boomer, saying 7-5 or 8-4. I like it. Yeah, I mean, I think, again, guys, 7-5, I think is, I don't know if safe pick is the right word. You know, I don't know if safe pick's the right word, but 7-5 is about, I think, if you averaged, if there was a possible way to average every prediction, then if there was a way to average it, I think 7-5 would be about that average. Connor McCormick says, need a call from Robbie and Walker today. Yeah, let's get them going. Let's get them rolling, man. TGIF. Happy Friday to you all. I just reopened the phone lines. I had to close them off so make sure nobody called in while we were with Big Game Boomer. But the phone lines are open. 843-790-3377. Brendan M., what's going on? I see Cocky Twan, Cody Gaskins, John Edward, Justin Langford, Lance Player. The entire crew is here. The entire crew is here. Luke RJ said, did BGB say, who knows, maybe 9-3? He did say that, Luke RJ. He did say if something crazy happens, maybe, you never know, maybe you can go 9-3. I feel like I was the bad guy yesterday on social media, injecting my perspective and telling people not to go crazy with their preseason predictions. As I said yesterday on social media, guys, and I will keep it short and sweet because I love people being optimistic. I love people predicting. I respect all predictions. So, I mean, listen, if you want to call in or if you want to drop your prediction to me on social media, like if you believe this team's going 9-3, all I ask is give me the reasons why. Hey, you might be right. Just give me reasons to support your prediction, right? Because I'm going to give you reasons to support my prediction, right? But if you think this team's going 9-3, if you think this team's going 10-2, I need more than, well, I believe we're going 9-3 because I'm a huge Gamecock and I hope it happens in year 2. 7-5 and year 2 is not Beamer ball. That doesn't make any sense. Like, give me some actual, and it's no disrespect to my guy Luke RJ because I know that's what he would say, but give me some actual like points as to like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to click, because I saw something. My guy, I've seen stuff from people saying that, we want it, so we're going to get it. It's like, well, everybody else wants it too, man. At the end of the day, it's just about execution and having the best players and all that. So let's see. Yeah. The rumor was that Jabron Harvey kid was coming to South Carolina. Fucking insiders, bro. Whoops. Apologize. Sorry for my language. But see, bro, that's why, like, honestly, bro, that's why I don't dabble in the per sources game, the insiders game. Nobody knows, bro. Nobody knows what they're talking about. Nobody knows what they're talking about at the end of the day, bro. Nobody really knows what they're talking about. So it's all good, though. I'm a reaction guy. I'm an opinion guy. I don't make a living off of message boards and insiders and all that good stuff. So anyways, folks, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Would love to hear from you all. Joe Anders says, we would need to beat Arkansas or Georgia to get to 8 wins. Yeah, I think if you're going to get to 8, you probably have got to beat Arkansas. Yeah, I think if you're going to get to 8, you got to beat Arkansas. Again, guys, yeah, and then Travis says for us to go 8-4 better, we cannot start 0-4 conference. I mean, no kidding, Travis. No kidding. That's no kidding. Zach Anderson, more likely upset, Tennessee at home or Kentucky on the road? That's a good question. I'll go Tennessee just because it's at home. I'll go Tennessee just because it's at home. You have never played well in Lexington. I mean, you've just never played well there. I don't know what it is, why it is. You've just never historically played well. Even when you were good, you didn't play well in Lexington. So I'll go Tennessee at home. Being at Willie B, I think you'll probably be under the lights. It'll be late in the season. I think you got a better shot there. Again, guys, hope you're having a fantastic start to your July 4th weekend. Hope you're having a great start. Let's see. Jason Heights said, wish Georgia was a night game. Me too, but it's not. It's a noon game. And it ain't changing. I think there's a lot of people that say, well, would the kickoff time change? I don't think so. I think that's just wishful thinking, unfortunately, but we'll see. We'll see. Guys, fire away with your questions, your comments, everything else. Very excited that this is really today. This is the final show without talking about like on-field football. I mean, we are talking about it, but you know, next week at this time, by the way, guys, at this time, you all will know my official predictions, projections, everything, my record for South Carolina. You guys are going to know this time next week. I'll be dropping part 2 of my game-by-game predictions, which again will be the entire thing. So you will know, and I've got to sit down this weekend and early next week and lock it in, man. I'll be honest with you, I have not done so yet. I've given indications, though, of where I'm going to fall. I mean, I've made it clear to you all that I don't see South Carolina missing a bowl game, right? And I also think 9-3 is a little aggressive. So you can kind of figure it out from there where I'm going to be. But there's a big difference to fans between 6, 7, and 8 wins, right? 6, 7, and 8. There's just a big difference. So, yeah, let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Chuck Floyd.
Yo, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hi, Chris. Hopefully I'm not echoing too bad. I'm in an elevator actually on Clemson University campus right now. You know, I work out here some days.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad, but it's part of the conversation today because, I listen to a lot of their radio during the day, try to get a kick out of the rumors and stuff. And they're a little uneasy up here because of all this realignment stuff right now. So that's part of my question today. I know I'm looking forward to your predictions and everything next week. But I was just wondering, I know this is going to affect Carolina, indirectly probably with this expansion and stuff in the future. Where there's been a lot of talk since, the USC, UCLA moving to the Big Ten. I listened to Feinbaum yesterday, Michael Bratton's podcast this morning after yours, and everybody talked about where this thing's going to go. And I think there's 2 obvious things going to happen. Is playoffs are going to get expanded because it looks like, we're going to Power 5's getting turned into the Power 2, AFC, NFC kind of going on here, North and South. What that leads me to, because they made it pretty clear they think the Big Ten's not done. Like they're either going to take like Oregon and Washington, or either start trying to poach Notre Dame from the ACC, since the ACC they're attached to the ACC all but football. And they're like, that doesn't make sense for Notre Dame to go to the ACC because of do they really want to get tied into football with Wake Forest, Duke, and all this stuff? Not really national powers now since the Big Ten have made this move. Do you think that Notre Dame end up going with the Big Ten and with some other teams like Oregon and Washington, and maybe getting somebody from the Big 12 to make it a 20 team? And the follow-up question is, what 4 teams do you think we'd go after? North Carolina, Virginia Tech? I'd hate to say it, Clemson, but you can't ignore the power. I don't think they would because of the foothold we already have in South Carolina, but it's about money at this point. What teams do you think the SEC is interested in to expand? Because, I mean, it's where we're at right now, and I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think we're definitely headed that way for these power conferences. The Big Ten's not done. I think it'd make a lot of sense for Notre Dame. They need to join a conference. I think being independent is just – I think being independent is there's – what's the point? I don't get the point of being independent at all.
Right.
As far as the SEC, I think you'd be foolish to think the SEC wouldn't add Clemson. I mean, Clemson's basically an SEC team in the ACC. I mean, just give them the just due. They are.
Right.
So, and I'd gladly like to see them in it. I'd love to see Clemson join the SEC. I know that might be an unpopular opinion to some, but to hell with it, man. I mean, hey, because I'll be honest with you, when it comes to rivalry banter and rivalry conversation, you don't hear me say a lot. You don't hear me like just go on and on and on and waste my breath about Clemson's schedule. I'll talk shit about Clemson fans. I'll talk shit about Clemson football, Clemson athletics. But, like, what's the point about talking about their schedule? Clemson doesn't control who they play. They just play who they play. Exactly. It's not their fault. The ACC sucks. So, you know what? It'd be awesome to have them come in and put your money where your mouth is. Let's go. Let's see if you can play LSU and then Georgia and then Florida and then Tennessee. Let's see if you can do that. Let's finally see what happens. And it puts more emphasis on the rivalry game, right? It puts more emphasis on the rivalry game. So I'm all for that. I'm all game.
Right.
I'm all game, right? And I think that's inevitably going to happen. So I think Clemson, I could see North Carolina, I could see Florida State, Miami, maybe. It's this is just the beginning of all this madness. This is just the beginning. Right. But yeah, I pretty much in my head, man, I've determined. I mean, Clemson to the SEC, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
I completely agree with you, because I think there's probably 6 to 8 really moneymaker programs still left on the table, and those are going to get split, and you can divide that however you will. Because, I mean, you want to think about a recruiting footprint. I mean, the SEC network is located in Charlotte, and there's not even an SEC team up there, so I think North Carolina's probably a pretty good brand overall. I mean, I know they don't want to separate with Duke, but I believe – when Mike Krzyzewski being gone anyway from Duke, it's going to be, and basketball doesn't nearly move the needle like football obviously does. So I was just curious to see what you thought. So, I mean, it's funny because, back at the beginning of the year, the SEC and I think the Big Ten, everybody was wanting to do this, talk about expanding the playoffs. And ultimately the ACC, Pac-12, all this stuff said no. And, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, is that his name? I can't remember.
Yeah, Greg Sankey, yes.
He pretty much was like, okay. Yeah, he's like, we're good with a 14 playoff. Obviously, we're running the table here, so we're fine. But now I think they, the Big Ten and SEC extended the olive branch to the other Power 5 conferences to expand, and now since they didn't do it, it's going to happen regardless. And I think those conferences aren't going to survive. So it's a big talking point. I know it's not really centered around our team. I love talking Carolina, but it's a big talking point that, Texas and Oklahoma obviously were part one of all of this. And I'm just interested to see where it's going to end up and where these blue bloods and big the last few, I'm not going to consider Clemson a blue blood, but you know what I'm saying? A power school as Clemson, where they're going to fall, because you'd be stupid to think that the ACC is going to hold together, and the Big 12 and the rest of the Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever they call themselves now. But that's all I got for you today, Chris. I was just interested to see what you think about that.
Dude, I appreciate the call, my man. Great stuff. Great insight. Try to
Yeah, man, have a good day.
we're praying for you up there in the upstate, by the way. So
Hey, man, it's Friday. I only got a few more stops in this place, and I'm out of here. No more orange and purple for me for the week.
I love it, man. I love it. I appreciate you, my guy.
Good,
Take care. Dude, I honestly love and respect the fact that our homie calls like from being on Clemson's campus. Like that's such a power move. That's such a power move. I really do appreciate that. Keep fighting the good fight, my guy. But I see a couple of comments. Zach Anderson says, I'd honestly rather see Ohio State in the SEC over Clemson getting near our beloved conference. Zach, our beloved conference. Like what? And I've seen people too, like, man, you know, if Clemson joins the SEC, we're gonna lose our only recruiting advantage. Bro, what recruiting advantage? And how has that worked out over the last decade? Clemson has beaten you the last 5 meetings, not even the last 7. The last 5 meetings by an average score of 31 points. You think them joining the SEC means jack shit? You think they need a recruiting advantage? They've already got a recruiting advantage over Carolina. What difference does it make? What difference does it make? I would love to see Clemson in the SEC. Would love to see it. Again, puts more emphasis on the rivalry game. Also, what it does, guys, as long as Clemson's in the ACC, they're going nowhere. There's nobody in that conference that is going to rise to their level realistically and knock them down. Nobody. Nobody is going to do that. Nobody's going to do that. Let them come to the SEC. Let them come get that ass beat. Let them go 8-4, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, it was the conference. As long as Clemson's in the ACC, they're going to run shit. I mean, they're going to have seasons even when they have an off year. Like last year, they won 10 games. Clemson had a bad season. They won 10 games. You know, like, what is the recruiting advantage? Like, you know what a recruiting advantage is? Is beating your rival 30-0. Austin says, bro, why are you dogging on Clemson? They're nasty. Clemson, Austin was not nasty last year. They were not. They were not nasty. They're better than Carolina, Austin, but they're not nasty, bro. Like, a team that's nasty's got a good quarterback. Let's see. Austin says their down year is equal to our best years. That's a true statement. You are correct. Here, what's up?
Robbie Davis, a.k.a. Kirk Herbstreit.
Robbie, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I just want to say in advance, I hope everybody in the live chat, including yourself, has a fantastic 4th of July weekend, okay? And a safe 4th of July weekend. Because I feel like people plus boats and alcohol equals bad ideas.
That's a fact.
So
that is
I
a
hope
fact.
Everybody stays safe this long weekend. And also the 4th of July is my dad's brother's birthday. So happy early birthday to him, okay? My Uncle Wayne. But I also wanted to say that I agree with you. If we really want to see how good Clemson can be, let them come over to the SEC and go 8-4. Let them. Yeah. Then they'll realize maybe they'll be like, maybe the SEC was better than people said. Yeah, we tried to tell you for years, and I agree with you. Everybody else in the ACC is trash. I wouldn't be shocked if Clemson won the ACC title this year. That is, if their quarterback plays decent, which he's not that good anyway. He hasn't played that well. But I say let them come over here and get their butt kicked. Then they'll be like, maybe there was some substance to the hype. Yeah, there is. We're playing in the Southeastern Conference, playing against Tennessee, playing against Florida, playing against Alabama, LSU, in Death Valley. Okay, that's the real Death Valley. The real Death Valley is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Okay, that's where the real Death Valley is. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I just think I'd be gung ho to see them come to the SEC because like you said, the rivalry will mean a lot more.
Mhm.
There will be some I guess you could say sort of kind of some substance to the rivalry added to it, because really there hasn't been no substance added to it the last few years.
Well, it's because we've gotten our gotten our asses kicked. That's why there's been no substance.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
No
We've
juice. There's been no juice because we've gotten we've gotten.
But if you
pummeled.
if they decide to come to the SEC, there will be juice in the rivalry, and there will be some points, hopefully some points being proven. Because I have said for years, I have told my cousins that are Clemson fans for years, and I have told my brother, who you heard who I told was on the phone the other day. Okay, I have told my brother and my cousins for years, if Clemson were to play in the SEC and play a schedule as tough as ours, week in and week out, year in and year out, there is no way they're making it to the playoffs every year, and there's no way they would be even in consideration to be in the playoffs every year. There's no way.
I'd love to find out. I'm not going to sit here and say they wouldn't have ever made the playoff. I mean, Clemson, give them their credit. They beat Alabama. They beat Alabama. They beat they beat some really good teams. So, but every year, yeah, probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, you play a team like Alabama every year. Yeah, you probably ain't going to beat them every year. No. Okay. Because there's a difference between playing Alabama once in a while and getting that lucky bounce, right? But playing them every year, if Nick Saban figures out how Clemson's offense is and figures out quick, fast, and in a hurry, Alabama's going to beat their ass. Yes, you heard me. Going to beat that ass.
Mm-hmm.
Beat them pussycats. Like a daggum redheaded stepchild. No offense to any redheaded stepchildren in the chat, okay? But it'll be bad. Okay? It will be horrible.
Yeah.
And I feel like in order for us to go 9-3 this year, a lot of things will have to go our way. Like we would have to beat A&M. We would have to beat A&M. We would have to beat Arkansas, which I think we're going to beat Arkansas. I really do. I still think that. And I think we'll have to pull some daggum horseshoes out of our butt, a lucky horseshoe out of our butt for a couple of games. I just do not see us going 9-3. Because as a whole, I don't think we are as we will be as consistent as some people think. But I still think we're going to go 7-5. 7-5 is more doable than 9-3 in a second year. Okay. Now once we get some pile-on recruits, right? Pile-on recruiting classes, and pile them on and develop. Then we can start talking about going 9-3 or 10-2 or 11-1. God forbid if that ever happens in my lifetime. Actually, it has happened. Never expect that. It has happened. We've gone 11-2 before, counting a bowl game. So yes, it has happened, right? But don't put the cart before the horse, okay? 7-5 is more doable than 9-3 right now.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, I'll drop my full predictions next week, but I will say this though: if you beat Arkansas, I think 8-4 is on the table. I think that's one that That is,
agree.
again,
If
that's
we
the
beat
biggest
Arkansas,
swing game of the year because if you lose it, whatever, you're expected to. If you win it, though, all of a sudden, I think some possibilities that were not. Because to me, I mean, if you beat Arkansas on the road, I'm going to expect you to beat Kentucky. I really am. Like, I just feel like if you're good enough to beat Arkansas at their place, I feel like you should be good enough to beat Kentucky at their place. You beat Arkansas on the road, you should be good enough to beat Florida. And again, transitive property doesn't mean anything in college football, but you beat Arkansas, I think that's going to tell us, okay, we don't have an SEC championship team, but we've got a solid football team. So I think 8-4 is realistic if you beat Arkansas.
I agree. And like I've said, just take care of business. Take it week by week, game by game, and just don't listen to the naysayers. The naysayers kiss your rump, okay? Who gives a damn what the naysayers say, okay? I don't. I certainly don't. I'm not even a player, for crying out loud. I don't care. Go out there, take care of business, and shut them up. Let the game do the talking, and that'll shut up the naysayers.
That's it.
All right, man. I'm going to get off of here and fix me some lunch. You have a great rest of your day and a great 4th of July weekend. And don't do anything too crazy.
Robbie, I appreciate it, man. Stay safe. Stay safe for real, man. I appreciate you calling in.
Yep.
All right, man. Much love. Take care. Great stuff, Robbie Davis. Always a pleasure. Guys, we're going to go ahead and jump into a quick break, but I want to continue to hear from you. Also, by the way, Rebecca's in the chat. Rebecca has commented. Hello, Rebecca. Appreciate you tuning in. Guys, here on this July 1st, let's rock. Appreciate y'all. We're taking more of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls as well. 843-790-3377. Cocky Twan says 9-3. Mark my words. Cocky Twan, can you do me a game-by-game record prediction? And give me a why. Give me some context. I had asked Tyler Gay the same thing. He says, we're going 9-3, baby. Tweet it. Okay, well, what games are we winning? What games are we losing? Why are we going 9-3? What's going to click? That's what I want to know. What's going to click? If you think we're going 9-3, it's fine, guys. And I'm not even saying it's completely off the table, but if you think we're going 9-3, why? Like, what is clicking? Is it Spencer Rattler's playing at a Heisman level? Is the offensive line exponentially improved? Is the defense carrying us? Like, what is clicking to push South Carolina to 9-3? Because you have to admit, things will have to click at a very high level. Justin, what's up, man? How are you?
Not much. How you doing, Chris?
I am doing fantastic, my guy. I appreciate you asking. What's going on?
Hey, Chris, can you believe USA enjoyed the Big Ten?
I just think college football is moving that way, man. It definitely was off the wall, and it doesn't on paper. I guess it doesn't make a lot of sense just geographically, but super conferences, man, super conferences. It's happening. It's happening. College football is changing as we know it. So.
Oh yes, and Chris, if they about the Pac-12, look, it falls flat face, you know.
Yeah, Pac-12 is about to be done. I think the Pac-12 and Big 12 should merge if they want to stay alive.
I agree, Chris. And Chris, if they about the Big 12, like, hey, we coming, right? Come join us, right? We can compete with the SEC, huh, Chris?
I mean, sure. Everybody wants to be a part of the SEC, right? Everybody wants to be a part of the SEC. Biggest, baddest conference, and that's where the most money is. And again, man, college football is driven by the almighty dollar. So that's what it'll come down to. And yeah, again, super conferences. I mean, it's something way above my pay grade, my guy. I just like watching college football and covering it and talking about it and creating content around it. Who joins what conference, it's so far out of my control. But it's happening. It's happening. Whether you like it or not, it's happening.
Oh yeah, and Chris, if they about the SEC. Chris, who do you think the SEC should go at if they start going to 18 teams in the future? Who would that be?
If we were going to add how many? You said 8 or 4 or get to 18 or how many? I mean, I think I'll say this. It doesn't even matter. Yeah, it doesn't even matter the number. I mean, I think that the top teams, I think the SEC, it would make sense for them to try to go get would probably be, I think Clemson's up there. I think North Carolina. I think Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech maybe. So I think they'd look at the ACC if they were going to add more.
Oh yeah, hey Chris, you don't know who would get the first phone call. Like, let's say NorCal gets the first call by the SEC. They say, hey, you want to join the conference?
And anybody listen, anybody who's asked to join is going to do it. They'd be crazy not to. So I think it's probably more of schools will be reaching out to the SEC wanting to join versus the SEC is going to reach out. I mean, the SEC doesn't have to reach out. Everybody wants to join the SEC already. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't think this is over, man. Like I said, I think this is I think this is just beginning. So.
Oh yeah, hey Chris, probably good. And think about the ACC. Listen, Chris, they have a chance to get no step, but they're fair to get, you know.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. I like I said, I'd like to see Clemson join. I'd like to see Clemson join.
Yeah, me too, Chris. Hey, Chris, I got to tell you about the Gamecocks real quick. I was listening to Uncle Lou yesterday. He picked the Gamecocks 6-6.
Uncle Lou picked the Gamecocks to go 6-6. Did he really?
Yeah.
I haven't watched. I haven't. That's actually somebody, believe it or not, I'd love to get on my show. I have not watched an Uncle Lou video in a very long time, but he does a good job with the Georgia folks. Does a really, really good job. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I see. 21 hours ago, he did a South Carolina video. He's got 51,000 subscribers. He does, but I mean, he lives on social media. That is his realm, if you will, and he talks all college football. So, but you're saying he had the Gamecocks going 6-6. Let's see. I'm pulling up his video now. Let's see. He had South Carolina. Let's see. I would assume he had them. Yeah. So he had the Gamecocks losing to Arkansas, Georgia, Kentucky, A&M, Tennessee, and Clemson. So they're beating Florida though. So yeah, 6-6. So he had 3 SEC wins over Mizzou, Vandy, and Florida, and then 3-1 in conference play. I mean, listen, it's very possible. It's very possible. I mean, I've had, if you don't want to take my word for it, I've had conversations with Brad Lowing that told me, Chris, this team could be better this year and have the same record. I mean, it's very possible. So 6-6, 7-5, I think those are both realistic expectations for this team.
Oh yeah, hey Chris, you know what? You would not be surprised. Okay, let's say we stay at 1 win. I would guess it would be Kentucky. You know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I list games like Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee. I list those as toss-up games, right? Those are winnable games. They are. Then you start looking at the Georgia A&Ms. I think those are a little bit more. You put those down as a loss in heavy black ink, and then Clemson is more of a loss than a toss-up, but I think it's got the potential to be a toss-up. If Clemson struggles offensively again and you have Spencer Rattler, you should have the better quarterback in that ballgame. But, I mean, listen, here's what people I think don't think about when it comes to predictions, right? Because everybody looks at last year and just says, we won 7 or we went 6-6 with our quarterback. We should win more than 6. And I don't blame people for thinking that way. You added Spencer Rattler. You want to get the return on your investment, right? But when you look back at the entire body of work last year, we were very fortunate. I mean, the ball bounced our way a couple of times, right? That's why there's a best case scenario and a worst case scenario, a realistic best case and a realistic worst case. Listen, if you think Carolina's going 9-3, that's fine. I mean, listen, give me some reasons, but that's fine. Could it happen? If everything goes your way, it could. But you also have to acknowledge the worst case scenario exists, right? The worst case scenario exists. So if the ball does not bounce your way, you could still go 6-6. It's possible. It is possible. You know? I mean, you think about last year. This team was close to 4-8, man. Should have lost to Vandy. Could have easily lost to East Carolina. Only beat Troy by 9 points. You could have easily went 4-8. Easily. And if you lose to Vandy, I don't think you're beating Florida. I don't think you're beating Auburn. So all I'm saying is just be able to understand the possibilities of the season. And can you bank on the ball bouncing your way again? That's what's, you know, that's what you just don't know. You just don't know. So
yeah, you never know, Chris.
We'll see.
Oh yeah, yep. Well, Chris, I gotta get going, man. But it's good talking to you, man.
Justin, I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, go Gamecocks.
Yeah, man. Go Cox. Appreciate you. Take care. Great stuff from our guy, Justin. In the meantime, by the way, Shane Beamer just tweeting, hey, welcome home. The Gamecocks just got a commitment. The Gamecocks just got a commitment. Shane Beamer putting up his welcome home tweet. So get fired up, Gamecock fans. Shane Beamer starting off the holiday weekend with a bang. By the way, shout out my guy Danny Boy, by the way. This is such a random change of subject. My barber, though, that gets me right, went and saw him this morning. My guy Danny Boy in 5 Points. Soda City Barbers. If you guys need a cut, you know, I don't normally do free ads, but my homie Danny Boy takes care of me, man. He's awesome. He's a legend. Check him out, Danny Boy. I tagged him on my Instagram story also. Danny Boy's a legend. So whatever you need, he's got you. Brandon Kuhn on the other, fair enough. Brandon Kuhn on the other hand, last year South Carolina could have beaten Missouri and Kentucky. Very, very good point. I will say last year about Kentucky though, could you have beaten Kentucky? Sure. I could argue on the flip side, Brandon, Kentucky probably should have beat your ass. I mean, I hate to say that, but You won the turnover margin 3-0 and still lost. How does that game play out if the turnover margin's even? You know what I mean? Either way, doesn't even really matter. I'm just saying, all I'm saying is this. When you think about predictions, there's a best case and there's a worst case. So if you want to say Carolina's going 9-3, that's fine. That's fine and dandy. If that's going to be your pick, that's fine and dandy. I just go into this season thinking, are we going to get those bounces again? You know, I hope we do. I hope we have a magical season. I hope we do. But when you say we're going 9-3, you are saying South Carolina is going to win every swing game they have. Every single one of them. Is that realistic in year two? Do you think it is? Do you think that's realistic in year two? I tend to think it's a little aggressive. I tend to think that's a little aggressive. Let's see. Yeah, Shane Beamer with a welcome home. Not 100. Old Cox by 90. Welcome home, baby. Love it. My guy Yuva, a new welcome home commitment per Shane Beamer. Like, no kidding. Who else would have published it? Who else would have put it out there? Waiting on the commitment to go public. We'll see who it is. I'll say something that, and here we go. Let me get into, I saw somebody comment. My dude, Tyler Gay, says, I'll give my reasons why we're going 9-3. Here we go. Quarterback room is deeper and better. Our wide receiver room is as deep as it's been in a long time. I'm going to break down this comment. Stogner and Bell are going to be a huge duo. Our O-line, I think, will work as a unit way better. Defense will be as or better, in my opinion. There you go. Okay, fair enough. Quarterback room's a lot better. Spencer Rattler, no doubt. I'm high on Rattler, bro. I bought Spencer Rattler for Heisman.com. I must like Spencer Rattler. The receiver room, I still see that as a question mark. I still see questions, I should say. You've got plenty of guys. You got options, right? I sort of have the same question I had last year when I said, you got a lot of bodies. You got to find some dudes. You got a lot of guys. Got to find some dudes. Who's going to be your dudes, right? Josh Vann, put some respect on Josh Vann's name. He ain't getting enough love, bottom line. What type of impact will Antoine Wells have coming from FCS to SEC? What type of impact will Corey Rucker have coming from Arkansas State to SEC? Is Jaheim Bell going to be a consistent week in, week out contributor? He better be, but he hasn't shown it yet. He had that great bowl game, but last year Jaheim Bell was solid player, wasn't an All-American, wasn't All-Conference, right? So he's got to take the next step. Outside of those guys I just mentioned, yes, Stogg gives you a nice option on third down. Who are your receiving threats? Jalen Brooks, Xavier Legette, DeCarrion Joyner. Is a freshman Landon Sampson really one of your top 4 or 5 guys? Who else? Trey Kenyon at tight end. I still think you're looking for playmakers on the outside to step up and be big-time guys, okay? Offensive line, major question mark. You think it's going to come together and work as a unit? I think stability under center will help the unit, and the unit will be better because they can't be worse. They literally cannot be worse than they were last year, right? They literally cannot be worse. How good are they, though? Can we run the ball when we need to? Can we give Spencer Rattler time? You think it'll come together? Okay. Defense. I am going to, not next week, but the following, do my season preview series, and I will talk about defense. I will give my expectations for the defense. I think with the losses and the additions, I personally don't think defense makes a huge jump this year. I think we're about the same as we were last year. I think when you look at what you lost, look at what you gained, I know it's year 2 of the system, year 2 of the scheme. I don't see anything on the defense that makes me say, well, this defense is just taking it to the next level. I think we'll be solid. But big question on defense is you lose Jalen Foster, who got 6 picks. Who's the guy that steps up in his place and is that turnover guy? You lose Barre, you lose Ellis in the middle. Are Birch, Pickens, Boogie Huntley, they ready, right? They ready to contribute. Tonka Hemingway, where the hell was he last year? I mean, I guess he played decently, but. So, anyways, Tyler, I appreciate you breaking it down, though, and giving me your predictions. I'll tell you guys this. If Carolina's going to go 9-3, I'll tell you what I think has to happen. If Carolina's going to go 9-3, offensive line, no question. The offensive line, none of it matters if the O-line still stinks. None of it matters. But if Carolina goes 9-3, it'll be because of one guy, and that is Spencer Rattler. If USC goes 9-3, it will be because of Spencer Rattler. Playing at a, dare I say, Heisman Trophy level caliber and elevating the play of those around him. That is why South Carolina will overachieve. That is why South Carolina will shatter preseason expectations. It will be because Spencer Rattler put this team on his back. Bottom line. We will go as far as he takes us. We will go as far as he takes us. Cocky Twan says, you don't give our players enough credit. Cocky Twan, be more specific, my guy. Who? I think we got good players. I don't crown them, and I'm not comparing Cocky Twan. They're good football players. I'm comparing to the teams we play on the schedule, my guy. You act like I'm saying we're going to go 4-8. I'm not saying that, but I'm not crowning Antoine Wells to be an All-American, yet he ain't played a snap at this level. He's got a lot to prove. Would you disagree? He's got a lot to prove. Tons. And if you don't think so, you are probably one crowning Jalen Brooks too. Who? What specific player? I think we got good players, but there's guys who have question marks that need to show they can be consistent week in, week out guys. I'm high on Jaheim Bell, but even him showing he can be a consistent week in, week out guy. Every single week. We need him every week. I missed a couple of questions. Peyton says, 9-3 will take a 2 upset wins as well as winning all games are supposed to. Yeah, I would agree. It's going to take some upsets. It's going to take some upsets. And again, I'm guys, the beauty's in the banter. If you think we're going 9-3, you might be right, and I might look an idiot. And I'll be like, damn it, I'm glad you're right. I love that. Dalton says, I think we lose to Georgia and A&M. However, I think the games are close. The question is Clemson. I think that'd be, honestly, Dalton, if you go, let's say 7-5, or God forbid 8-4, and you lose those games close, I think that's a great year. I think you're showing positive progression, positive trajectory for sure, man. You're moving in the right direction. Dalton Hines, will we finally end the streak? Dalton, you got to wait till next week when I drop my predictions. You got to wait till next week. Let's see. Interesting. Tyler Gay, Marshawn will be our guy this year. I hope so. I mean, I think we've got options. Who's going to step up? That's the question. I think Marshawn certainly can. I think he can be our guy. Dalton also says, I think 8 or 9 wins is ambitious, but I think we have good enough roster to beat Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Clemson. I will say this, Dalton. I don't think our roster's on Clemson's level yet. If we beat Clemson, it's an upset. I'm not saying we can't beat them, right? Because, again, we have the quarterback advantage in that game, right? We have the quarterback advantage in that game. And when you have the quarterback advantage, right, you don't have to have as good a roster. You don't have to be same level. That can make up for a lot of deficiencies. I don't think top to bottom. I know for a fact top to bottom South Carolina does not have as good a roster as Clemson. I hate to tell you, look at the recruiting rankings. That alone is going to tell you the story. But I think, yes, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, those are swing games. Yes, I see those as swing games. Dalton, if we go 2-2 in those toss-up games, win the games we're supposed to, we're in good shape. Agreed 110%. Yeah, I would agree 110%. For sure. Yeah, because if you go 2-2 in those toss-ups, yeah, you're looking 7-5, 8-4. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're looking at 7-5, 8-4, and that's a really good year. It's a really, really good year. Luke RJ, how many points can we score a game this year with Rattler? That's what really all that matters. Can we score 30 a game? I mean, Luke RJ, I think the expectation should be to score 30 a game. I really do. Because, again, we're talking about the entire body of work. I'm not saying averaging scoring 30 a game against Georgia, Clemson, and A&M, but throughout this entire season, yes, you should score 30 a game. You should score over 30 against Georgia State. You should score well over 30 against Charlotte and SC State. You should score over 30 against Vandy. You should score over 30 against Florida. You should score over 30 against Mizzou, right? Like, you should be able to move the football. You should. I think 30 points per game is that number. It's that sweet spot. It is the number you need to hit this year. It's in my opinion, and again, I'll talk about this much more in depth next week. Not next week, the following week when I do my season preview series. You should be able to score. You should be able to score. I'm going to highlight this comment, and some of you will hate me for it, but you know what? You're brave enough to comment, and you're showing love, too. Darren Ritchie says, love my Tigers and love your show. Well, Darren, obviously we don't see eye to eye on many things, but I appreciate that you can enjoy the banter, my friend. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Dalton, Florida's one that I don't know if it should be a winner or a toss-up. Dalton, it's a toss-up. In my mind, it's a toss-up. If you're saying that, if you're unsure, then it's a toss-up. If it's not a for sure win, it's a toss-up. All right? Florida's not a kick-in win. Florida's not a kick-in win. It's not. With our history in Gainesville, and Florida is just such a big question mark themselves, I don't think you can fairly call Florida a win. Just a check it off dub. You know what I mean? We very well could win that game, but it doesn't fall in the same category as Charlotte. You know what I mean? Like that when I say win, when I do wins, toss-ups, and losses, I'm talking about like a win, heavy black ink, boom, just check it off without even thinking about it. You know what I mean? Without even thinking about it. Florida, I don't think is on that level. A lot of top 5 lists and top lists and all that good stuff dropping. In case you missed it, guys, welcome home. Shane Beamer picking up a commitment. We will see who it is at some point whenever they announce. Dalton says, is Mizzou a toss-up game? Yes. Yes, I listed it as a toss-up, Dalton. Again, you've lost 3 straight to them. Like, how can you – now, is it closer to a win than a loss type of toss-up? Is it one that you are expecting to win? Yes, but you haven't beaten them in 4 years. That's got to be a toss-up a little bit. It's got to be. It's got to be a toss-up. You're telling me if Carolina falls, if Carolina's season goes exactly as, let's say, Brad Crawford has predicted, and the Gamecocks are 3-4 and 0-4 in league play going into that Mizzou game, you think that's a for sure win? Ain't no damn way. That's one we should win. That's one we're expecting to win. Still a toss-up in my mind. It's still a toss-up. It's still in the toss-up category. I think so. Let's see. Dalton says we'll be favored against Mizzou and probably by less, and Florida. You think we're favored against Florida? I think, yeah, I mean, Dalton, but like when I define wins, toss-ups, losses, Vegas spread doesn't, like, Dalton, unless we're favored by 21, it's a toss-up. Like, it is. It is. It's a toss. If we're favored by a touchdown against Mizzou, what does that mean, bro? We were underdogs to Florida by 20.5 and won. Who cares? I don't factor in that Vegas spread when it comes to wins, toss-ups, and losses. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Rebecca.
to accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
Rebecca, what's going on? How are you?
Good. I've seen that we had a Clemson fan in the chat.
We did. We did have a Clemson fan in the chat.
What the hell?
I don't know, Rebecca. I don't know. People just love the content. They love the content. Can you blame them?
Love my Tigers and love your show. Somebody said we don't love you.
Well, I'm obviously not a Clemson guy. I don't like Clemson, but you know what? People want to rock with the show and they find enjoyment, entertainment in it. I'll take it. I'll take it. So it don't bother me.
All right. I'm wondering if that Clemson guy's still listening.
I don't know. I guess he'll have to comment and let us know if he is.
'Cause I got something to say to him.
Go ahead. He'll hear it. He'll hear it at some point. He'll hear it at some point.
It ain't gonna be pretty either.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name again?
I'd have to go back and look. I'm not 110% sure. His name is Darren Ritchie. Oh yeah, he's commenting. Yeah, he's here. He's here. He wants to hear. He said, "Rebecca, you won't say shit."
All right, Darren Ritchie, I got something to say to you. We don't give two flying fucks about Clemson, okay? So, I don't know why you're on this show, commenting, but you need to get your ass off of here. And I'm serious.
Rebecca, I'm telling you again. I told Robbie this, and I'll tell you this. I am pleading for you and Robbie to start a podcast together. I think it would be golden. I think it would be classic. I think it would be incredible. I don't know what the hell y'all would talk about, but it would be awesome. That needs to happen.
But basically what I'm saying to that guy is that he needs to get off the show, go find somewhere else to go. We're not going to put up with no bullshit from a Clemson fan on here.
Hey, we keep them in line, Rebecca. I keep them in line. I would never allow a Clemson fan to come on these airwaves and disrupt what we got going on. Would never allow it.
So the guy that is on here, he needs to get off this darn live.
Rebecca has spoken.
Yep. The Queen has spoken.
That's it. That's it.
Yep. Oh, Darren Ritchie, get your ass off this show, please. We don't want to hear your ass. And I'm being honest with you. I was doing good until I saw a Clemson fan.
For sure. Rebecca, poetic as always. Thank you. I appreciate it. We got tons of calls coming. I'm going to jump to this other call real quick.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say my 2 cents.
For sure. We appreciate it. Let's jump to
Call from
this call.
Caleb Thomas.
What's going on, man? How are you?
How's it going, man?
What's up? How you doing?
Pretty good. I had a question for the season opener. I was wondering if you thought that may end up being a night game, considering we have new lights and they've been pushing for more night games last year.
So, yeah,
And secondly,
Georgia State, by the way, is a night game already announced, 7:30. Yeah, it's a night game.
Oh, is it?
Yes, 7:30
Okay,
kickoff.
good.
Yes.
Gotcha. And secondly, to me, from judging from last year, this isn't the same Carolina team that, laid over and died in years past in, games that we should win. I've seen a lot of fight and all. How many games do you think that we have a good shot at flipping this year?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think anything from 6-6 to 8-4 is possible. I mean, if things really went right, everything clicked, maybe 9-3. But as I've said before, man, I'd sign up for an 8-4 season right now. I think it's doable. If South Carolina is going to get to 8-4, I think Spencer Rattler's got to put this team on his back, and he's got to play well, and certainly got to use his weapons around him. And we got good players on defense, but Spencer Rattler's got to play at a high level. If Spencer Rattler's the guy that I think we think he is, then yeah, I think this team could win 8 games. But I would say this: don't let the record fool you, because this team could go 7-5, right? And that's only one more win in the regular season than last year. But if you go 7-5 and you're winning with style, you're blowing out Vandy as you should. You're winning your non-conference games outside of Clemson by a big margin. You win a couple of nice swing games, right? That 7-5 is going to feel a lot better than that 6-6 did last year. I mean, you cheated death to get to 6-6 last year in the regular season. You can go 7-5 and it be an impressive 7-5. Not all finishes are built the same. So I think realistic expectations, my friend, somewhere between 6-6 and 8-4. Anything below that, I think, is being too negative. Anything above that, I think, is a little too aggressive on the positive side. I think somewhere between 6-6 and 8-4 is where you'll see South kind of fall.
I'm with you 100% on that one. And I've got another one for you that kind of gets your juices flowing a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple, I would say Clemson friends, but I'm not friends with any of them. A lot of them have been saying that the SEC would trade Carolina for them any day of the week, and they have it in their mind that they would dominate if they came over here.
I say bring it on. Let them come. I mean, why not? The only way we're going to find out is, it happening. So let them do it.
That's it. All right, man. I appreciate it. Go Cox.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Take care. Great stuff. Calls are rolling in, guys. Hey, we're going to jump into a quick break. Hope you all are staying safe out there, by the way. The thunder and lightning coming down in Columbia, South Carolina. Guys, again, appreciate you all tuning in. It is Friday, July the 1st, 2022. Taking more of your questions, comments, calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, what's up, guys? We're back taking your questions, your comments, your calls here on the Daily Crow, 843-790-3377. Dalton Hines, my guy Dalton fired him off, says, Taters will never admit this, but they like their cakewalk in the All Cupcake Conference. That's why I don't see them moving unless the ACC completely collapses. Dalton, I'd love if our schedule was easy. Am I crazy for saying that? I'd love to have an easy schedule. Because you know what? You don't get trophies for having a tough schedule. You don't hang banners for having a tough schedule. You hang banners for winning games. That's it. I'm not saying I want to go to the ACC. Whoa. Bro, there was a lightning strike like 2 miles close to here. I saw the blink, and I literally heard like it's in my headphones. So, yeah, if something happens, by the way, and the live goes down, it is because of weather issues. So that was kind of scary, actually. Here we go. Brett Russ says Clemson will be an 8-4 team every year at best in the SEC. I hope to see him join. Like I said, I just want to see it happen. Dalton says also the Taters who think the SEC can kick us right out and get them instead of, can't say the R word in 2022, Dalton. We have been a member of the institution for 30 years at this point. Yeah, we're not going anywhere. He also says none of the other SEC schools be in favor of injecting a long-standing member that have won national titles in multiple different sports. Cody, Shane Beamer has not announced who the welcome home is, and I would imagine the player himself is going to do it. So, Zion Williamson's about to get a 5-year rookie max contract extension worth 5 years, $231 million. Interesting. Anyways, guys, taking your questions, your comments, your calls. Appreciate y'all, man, for all the love and support. And let's embrace the present moment because we ain't got much longer left in this studio. We only got a week and a half, 2 weeks left in the studio. So I'm figuring out everything on my end, folks. You have not felt real. I'll tell you this. You have not felt real frustration until you are waiting in limbo to hear back about a certain property in certain places. And you're like, dude, what is taking you so long? Like, I literally have nowhere to live at the present moment. I'm waiting on your word. Waiting on your word. It's like, dude, you're killing me. Dalton, yes, if the SEC expands to 20 teams, I got to think Clemson's a part of it, FSU's a part of it, Miami's a part of it. Yeah, I would imagine they will be in it. Jason Height says high school players can back out of the verbal commitments, can't they? Yeah. Bro, verbal. That again, Jason. There are reasons why I'm not. I like recruiting. Don't get me wrong, but I've mentioned this many times. There are reasons why, though. Like, I don't live and die by recruiting. That's not my number one thing, right? That's not like my sole thing and what I focus on, what I lock in on, right? So, you know, I mean, that's another reason. That's one of the other reasons is a verbal commitment. It means nothing until pen hits paper. Get excited, but don't let yourself get carried away. Look at Jayshon Barham. I mean, I was talking crap last year because we picked up a commitment from Jayshon Barham, and look what happened. You know, look what happened. So it means nothing. It means nothing. I hate to say that. Wow, bro. Bro, R. Kelly got 30 years in prison. Holy 30 years in prison. He's already been in jail since 2019. Wow, bro. See ya. Let's see. Luke RJ, what day will be the first day in the new place and studio? We have to take a break from TDC to get settled. Great questions, Luke RJ. The first day, I don't know yet. Will we have to take a break to get settled? I'm going to do everything in my power, Luke RJ, for that to not be the case. I think we'll be able to go live. It's going to be the first week or so is going to be a lot of moving pieces. The setup will probably not be exactly what I want, but listen, the joy is in the journey. I don't think you guys are going to care if the setup's not perfect behind me and there's still boxes and there's unpacking, and I'm going to try to, the content's not, let me put it to you this way, Luke RJ. I'm not going to allow the content to suffer because of a move. So we'll get it figured out. We'll work it out. All good. We'll be fine. So I don't know all exactly those details, but trust me, I'll let you know as soon as I find out. Let's see. Travis Allen just can't come out and play flat and look lost in any game. It's been the Carolina way at times, be competitive. Yeah, Travis, I would agree. To make real progress, you know what I mean? You can't have games like you had like last year against A&M where the game is literally over before it starts. Where, it just – doesn't it suck, right, getting ready for a game all week and you just know in the back of your mind, like, we have no shot. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we have no chance. We have no chance. And that's how A&M felt last year. I mean, I hate to say it, but – and that's how it played out. That's how it played out. So. Jason Height, great question. How do you think Paris will do? I'll be honest with you, Jason. It's crazy. I respect the people that want to talk basketball right now. When it comes to Lamont Paris, I don't know why I just said it like that. When it comes to Lamont Paris, I have no expectations in year one. I hate to say that, but I think it's going to be a rough year. When you look at who we lost, who we added, I think fans should really look at this basketball season with a blank slate. I think fans should go into it with no expectations. I mean, guys, let's just call it for what it is. The state of South Carolina basketball is not good. And I'm not saying that like I don't like Lamont Paris. He might turn out to be great. He might. But until something happens to where basketball starts winning, it is the redheaded stepchild. It feels like it. It feels like it, you know? And I hate to say that, but it just like, how much have we, like literally, I wish there was a way that I could break down like all the hours of the Daily Crow and like how much have we talked basketball in the last 6 months? Like excluding the season, actually, like since basketball season ended, right? How much have we talked basketball? We've maybe talked at like 3% of this show. Like literally, we don't talk basketball. Women's are great. We have not talked men's at all. So, Luke RJ, what's the single season passing record at South Carolina? Great question. I will tell you, Luke RJ. The single season passing yardage record is Dylan Thompson in 2014 at 3,564 yards, which really even screams to more so how that team, if that team had any semblance of a defense, would have won 10 games. I mean, had any kind of defense. Number one is Dylan Thompson's number I just mentioned. Number two, Todd Ellis in 1987, 3,206 yards. Jake Bentley at number three, 3,171 yards in 2018. At number 4, Steve Tannehill in 95, 3,094 yards. In number 5, Steven Garcia, 3,059 yards in 2010. So I guess my question to you would be this. Do I think Spencer Rattler is going to set the record? No. I don't think Rattler throws – I think he can throw for 3,000. I don't think he throws for 3,600. I mean, you think about how many yards is that, right? That's like 300 a game. You think he's going to throw for 300 a game? I doubt it. Now, Jake Bentley, the last great passing the ball season we had was Jake Bentley in 2018, 31-71. Can he surpass that? I think so. Yeah, I definitely think he can. Here's a good question. Caleb Thomas Fishing says, best section to sit in to give someone their best first game experience. Well, I think this answer, Caleb, is going to differ depending on where people like to sit. Me personally, I love row 1 of the upper deck as close as you can get to the 50. I think also sitting in like section 8 and 9, close to where USC runs out, I think that's a cool view. You know what's really underrated? Standing in the turnstiles. I love standing in the turnstiles. I really do. I think that's a very underrated experience. Dude, what I used to do before TSUS, and I was like buying tickets and all that, I would buy the cheapest ticket I could find. I'd just stand in the turnstile. I loved it. I love standing in the turnstile. I think it's a great view. Jason Height says, do you think we will see much of Jake this year? Jake who? Bentley? Jake who? Am I missing something? Is there a Jake I'm not familiar with? Jake, who am I? Jason, Jake who? I don't know what Jake you're talking about. Cocky Twan losses to A&M, Georgia, and Clemson. I know Cocky Twan. You got 9-3. Why? So basically, Cocky Twan saying we're going to win every single toss-up game. We're going to win every toss-up game, and we're going to lose to A&M, Clemson, and Georgia. Here's my thing, though, Cocky Twan, to your point. Here's my thing. If South Carolina is good enough to beat Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida, all 4 of those teams, why are they not good enough to beat Clemson? If South Carolina goes 4-0 in those, I mean, Cocky Twan, can you imagine if Carolina comes into Clemson 8-3? Or excuse me, 9-2? Can you imagine that? Mark Regal, can't believe y'all didn't know it was Dylan Thompson. I'm sorry, Mark, I had to look it up. He led the SEC in passing yards that year. Only time a USC quarterback has done that. And Rattler will eclipse 4,000. Who wants to make a bet on that? Mark, I will bet any amount of money you want to bet on that, my guy. Spencer Rattler is not throwing for over 4,000 yards. I'll put everything I can reasonably afford to lose on it. Go ahead, Mark, and lock me in. I'm in on your bet. Under 4,000. I'll take under 4,000. Phil says it sounds insane. Yeah, the 9-3 thing, yeah, it sounds insane because it kind of is insane. I'm just saying, though, if you're coming into Clemson 9-2, you're good enough to beat Clemson. Luke RJ, I want nothing more than Spencer Rattler to break the single-season passing record this year. Imagine the headlines and news stories nationally. Luke RJ, I know you want to, but will he? I don't think so. I think he throws for over 3,000, though. Yeah, saying that Spencer Rattler is going to throw for 4,000 is nuts. I'm sorry, Mark. That's nuts. Who are we? Texas Tech? You think we're going to throw it that much? That's nuts, dude. I hope it happens, but that's nuts. No. Nope. And I'll gladly take the bet. Under 4,000. You got me locked in. I'll throw $5 on it. I'll throw $5 on it. Let's see. Cody says, we'll run the ball more than we pass. Now, see, that's an interesting take. We'll talk about this in 2 weeks when I do my season preview series. When I talk offense. What's the identity of the offense going to be? What's the offense going to look like? Will we be I think we're going to be pretty balanced. Will we run more than we pass? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think we'll be pretty balanced. I mean, I'm hoping and praying to God that having a guy like Rattler that has a threat of the pass is going to help the run game. I think a lot of what happened last year was teams knew we couldn't throw. They knew we couldn't throw, man. And it was like, we dare you. We dare you to pass. Zeb Nolan, Jason Brown, we dare you. We dare you to pass. So, I hope the addition of Rattler loosens defenses up and makes it a little bit easier for us to run the football. So, I still think running the football is going to be a big part of our offense. I do. Excuse me. Anyways, guys, questions, comments, calls. Less than 20 minutes to go here on this Friday. Anybody got any big July 4th plans? Anybody hitting the beach, hitting the pool, hitting the lake, whatever? I'm sure the lake's going to be packed this weekend. I'm sure it's going to be packed this weekend for sure. Austin Greer says, imagine Rattler gets benched and Doty starts. Well, Austin, the good news is I'm not in control of the sticks, right? The only way that would happen is if we're playing NCAA football and I'm playing with Rattler on Road to Glory on Heisman, and I stink it up. So thankfully, Rattler is a much better real-life QB than I am a video game QB. That's the good news. Brandon Coons says, I'm going to watch the hot dog eating contest. I hear you. Luke RJ, Chris, if Dylan Thompson can throw for 3,500, Spencer Rattler can do that also. Which offense was better as a roster? Luke RJ, I'm gonna let you sit down, do some research, and think about what you just asked. Which roster is better offensively, 2014 or 2022? My guy, it's 2014, and it's not even close. It's not even close, bro. It's not even close. That offense was really good. Really good. The defense sucked. The 2014 offensive roster, night and day better. Night and day better. And I don't know how you could, it's recency bias to say 2022. It is. It's recency bias. You forget about all the good players on that 2014 team if you're sitting there saying that it's 2022. I'm sorry, you just are. You started watching Gamecocks football in 2015 if you think that. So. That offense scored 32.6 points per game. That defense gave up 30.4 points per game, bro. That defense was atrocious. Let's see. And that season, Thompson threw 26 touchdowns to 11 picks. Bro, that 2014 team had Mike Davis, Brandon Wilds, Pharaoh Cooper, Demir Bird, Nicky Jones, Shaq Rowland, Busta Anderson, Jarrell Adams. Bro, there were some nasty players on that team. There were some very good players on that football team. So for you to sit there and say, as of right now, that 14 roster was better. That 14 offensively. And hey, to Rob's point in the comments, they may prove us wrong or prove me wrong. That 14, I just think it's kind of disrespectful, bro, coming off of that run 10-13. Let's not act like this team didn't have talent in 2014. They had talent. Defensively, they didn't. Offensively, there was still a lot of talent there. Dalton, Rattler with a good season, but we aren't running an air raid or anything. We have a running back room that's pretty damn good, and they need to touch the football. I agree. I still think the Rattler's going to have a good season. I do. I think Rattler's going to have a very good season. But, yeah, we're not running an air raid. We're going to run the football. Yeah, I just gave you the names, Luke RJ. Again, Pharaoh Cooper, the big guy, Nick Jones, Demir Bird. I mean, we're talking about Demir Bird, NFL. Pharaoh Cooper, NFL. Mike Davis, NFL. Shaq Rowland, immensely talented, should have been an NFL guy. Busta Anderson and Jarrell Adams, both NFL. Like, we're talking about some really good players. That offensive line was good too. Don't forget, that team had a good O-line. Right? That team had a good O-line. Something we don't know if this team's going to have. So, right now, I'm taking that 14 roster. Austin, has Demir Bird not had a pretty successful NFL career? I mean, he's still playing. So, I mean, Austin, I don't know, man. I think you misguided. I think the 14, right now, the 14 roster offensively was better. I hope that the 22 roster, I mean, I don't feel like I have to keep saying that. I think right now the 14 roster was better offensively. I do. I think the 14 roster was better. And by the way, they had Steve Spurrier calling plays, who I know how y'all feel about Satterfield. So that also helps. Luke RJ says, was Dylan Thompson that good or was it Spurrier in the roster? Luke RJ, I would say that it was a mix of both, but Dylan Thompson proved to you how good he was when he beat Clemson in 2012, and he had played, obviously, Luke before that. So I think Thompson was a good player. I think it'd be unfair to say Thompson wasn't a good player. But, yeah, I mean, it's a collective effort, right? Like, Steve Spurrier was calling the plays and dialing it up. There were good receivers and good options on the outside. So, we'll see where this team falls. We'll see where this team falls in regards to final statistics and will they score 30 a game? Will Rattler eclipse Dylan Thompson's single season passing yards record? Maybe. I think Rattler has the potential to do something like that. Will the supporting cast around him get to that point? That's what we'll have to wait and see. Guys, we're going to jump into one final break, but I want to continue to hear from you, more of your questions, your comments, your calls, and more on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Final 6 minutes or so here on the Daily Crow. I appreciate you all tuning in, guys. And let me say thank you all so much yet again for all the love and support this week. Yet another successful week. I really feel like, again, as we go into July, man, we've got as much positive momentum as we can possibly have, man. It's incredible. Business is rocking and rolling. Merch is rolling. We're adding new partners going into football season. And I'm just so excited, again, as I told you guys, starting next week to really start breaking this thing down, dissecting it on field with predictions and projections and previews and just breaking it down each and every single way we can. Kemper, my man, happy 4th of July. Yeah, happy 4th of July to each and every single one of you guys. In case you missed it, by the way, no Daily Crow on Monday. Of course, due to the July 4th holiday, there will be no Daily Crow. There might be a podcast. I might drop a special bonus episode. I'll be honest, I don't think I've got a reason not to. I mean, I could easily bring my mic, and I think I'm going to go see my family for July 4th. I could easily bring the mic and the interface home and rock a show real quick. And I don't know even exactly what it would be because I plan for there not to be a podcast. But I'm not going to guarantee yes or no, but just stay tuned. But, once we get back next week, man, either way, it will be full steam ahead. Tuesday I'll be recording my podcast for Wednesday, which will be starting my predictions, man. And from there, we're rocking, previewing everything, breaking everything down. Going to be a lot of fun. So going to be a lot of fun for sure. By the way, guys, in case you missed it, podcast did drop this morning, and I released my top 5 coaches list of all time at South Carolina. I'll say this. Here's a hot take. In the spirit of talking top 5 best coaches in South Carolina football history, if Shane Beamer doesn't crack the top 5 by the end of his tenure, I could argue that his career here was not a successful one because, guys, let's just call it for what it is. The history's not great. And, you look at the records of guys like Rex Enright and Jim Carlin that cracked the top 5, it's not like it's going to take a lot. If Beamer's here for a decade, if he wins enough to be here for a decade, to me, he's a top 5 coach of all time, right? So I would say, I don't know if that is a hot take, but I will say I think Beamer, if things go according to plan, he will finish his career here as one of the top 3 or 4 coaches in school history. So, but of course, guys, I had Carlin 5, Rex Enright 4, Holtz 3, Jomo 2, and number 1, Steve Spurrier. And I would say, and I'm glad there hasn't been balking to Spurrier. I was a little bit worried about that because of the way it ended. And there's some people that still, for whatever reason, hold a grudge against Spurrier because of how it ended. Guys, he's the greatest coach in school history. And it's just not even close. Right now, it's not even close. It's not even close. Steve Spurrier truly did the unthinkable in Columbia. I mean, what Spurrier did, most could not fathom it could be done here. And he changed the program forever. Right? The way we think of Carolina football now, Shane Beamer would not have the expectations he has, and the goals would not be what they are if not for Steve Spurrier raising the level, raising the expectations. And thank goodness for that, right? He made us believe South Carolina football can be something special. South Carolina, there's no reason why. Why not us, right? Why not us? There's no reason why South Carolina football can't be elite. There's no reason why the Gamecocks can't challenge Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, Auburn. There's no reason why the Gamecocks can't challenge those teams on a year-in, year-out basis. Simply put, the HBC, the GOAT, the legend, the greatest coach in South Carolina football history. And it's not even close. It's not even close. There's been many lists out there that I've published that you could debate number 1. You can't debate number 1 here. You can't do it. You cannot do it. You can hate the way he left. You can hate the way he left. But even with that being said, you got to acknowledge Stephen Orr Spurrier is the greatest coach to grace the sidelines in Columbia, and it ain't even close. It's not even close. So, Cody said, listen to the names of the players that played when he was coaching. Well, yeah, Cody, they're the ones that brought him in. Like, part of the job's recruiting. So Spurrier did the greatest job at coaching up guys, bringing in guys, recruiting guys, all that. Mark Regal said, I can name 10 reasons why I don't like Spurrier. Him leaving ain't one of them. Mark, I don't give a damn if you got 100 reasons why you don't like Spurrier. He's the greatest coach in South Carolina football history, and if you're a Gamecock fan, you got to tip your cap and recognize that. And if you can't do that, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you because you know what? Even with how it ended, hey, here's a little thing. Even with how the Spurrier era ended, I would trade that for those years all over again. Because, man, 10-13 was like living in heaven, bro. 10-13 was it was a dream, dude. It was a dream. We're still watching highlights from 10-13 to get us ready for football season. That pocket of success, man, I'd do anything to go back and relive that, or I'd do anything to, like, replicate that. God, I'd kill for that again. We all would. You're lying to yourself if you say you wouldn't. So, Luke RJ. Luke RJ, if you want me to do it, I'll throw the poll up, my guy. So we make sure we get a ton of votes. I'll throw the poll up. Guys, we've hit 2 o'clock. Appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Sincerely, thank you so much for the love and support. This week, like I said, it's been incredible. The Daily Crow's been popping every single day, and I feel like you can kind of feel like the energy, and we're getting closer to football, and yeah, man, it's cool. It's cool. Business is at a great place, and really excited for all the positive momentum that we have. Guys, again, no Daily Crow on Monday. Stay tuned. There might be a podcast. We might talk top 5 kickers. We might talk something else. Just stay tuned. Content continue to bleed out the eyeballs, of course, but appreciate y'all, man. Have a happy and safe 4th of July weekend. Have a happy and safe 4th of July weekend. Stay safe for sure, man. And again, appreciate y'all. Hey, y'all have a great holiday weekend. Appreciate it. Happy 4th of July. We will talk to you next week.